The first thing I noticed wasn't her. It was the child. He stood beside her at the cafe entrance, small fingers wrapped tightly around her hand, his wide eyes scanning the room like he was searching for something, or someone. For a moment, I thought I had the wrong table. Maybe she was meeting someone else. Maybe I had misread the message. But then she looked straight at me. And smiled. "Daniel?" she asked. I stood up slowly, confusion already creeping into my chest. "Yeah, you must be Sara." She nodded. "I'm sorry I'm late." Late wasn't the problem. The child was. Before I could ask, she gently nudged the boy forward. "Say hi." The boy didn't say anything. He just stared at me, his gaze intense, almost too aware for someone his age. "This is..." I started. Sara exhaled softly, like she had been holding her breath for hours. Then she said the words that would shatter the entire evening before it even began. "He's yours." I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so absurd, so completely out of place, that my brain refused to process it any other way. "I think you've got the wrong guy," I said, shaking my head. "We just met. This is literally our first date." "I know," she replied quietly. The boy still hadn't taken his eyes off me. "I'm serious," I added, my voice tightening. "I've never seen you before in my life." Sara pulled out the chair across from me and sat down, her movements calm but heavy, like every step carried a story I hadn't heard yet. The boy climbed into the seat beside her, still watching me like I was the answer to a question he didn't fully understand. "His name is Adam," she said. "Okay," I dragged a hand through my hair. "That doesn't explain anything." She looked at me then, really looked. Not like someone on a date, but like someone standing at the edge of a cliff, deciding whether to jump. "You don't remember me, do you?" she asked. I frowned. Should I? A faint, bittersweet smile touched her lips. 5 years ago. The hospital in Chicago. You volunteered there. And just like that, something shifted. Not a full memory, just a flicker. White hallways. Late nights. A blur of faces. I used to volunteer during my worst year, back when I was trying to outrun my own grief. I met a lot of people there, I said slowly. "I know," she replied. "But I didn't forget you." I leaned back, my confusion deepening into something more uneasy. "Okay, let's say we met. That still doesn't explain why you're telling me that's my kid." She reached into her bag, her hands trembling slightly, and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "A DNA test," she said, placing it on the table. I didn't touch it. "I think you should look," she added softly. "I think you should explain," I shot back. She swallowed. "We didn't just meet at the hospital, Daniel." I froze. "We talked a lot," she continued. "You stayed late sometimes. You'd sit with me when my mother was asleep. You listened when no one else would." Fragments began to resurface. A girl sitting by a hospital bed. Long conversations under dim lights. Shared silence that didn't feel empty. "You were leaving the city," she said. "You told me you didn't want to feel anything anymore. That everything hurt too much." My chest tightened. "I remember that part," I admitted. Her eyes softened. "That night, we both needed someone. And for a few hours, we stopped being broken. The air between us grew heavy. I didn't know how to find you after," she continued. "You never gave me a number. Just a first name." I looked down at the paper, my hands finally reaching for it. My heart pounded as I unfolded it. 99.9% probability. The words blurred. "That's not possible," I whispered, even though the proof sat right in front of me. Sara's voice cracked. "I wasn't going to tell you. I looked up sharply. I raised him on my own, she said. For 5 years. I didn't want anything from you. Not money. Not help. Nothing. Then why now? I asked, my voice barely steady. She glanced at Adam, who was now quietly tracing circles on the table with his finger. Because he started asking questions, she said. And I didn't want to lie anymore. Silence fell over us. I looked at the boy again, really looked this time. The shape of his eyes. The way his brow furrowed slightly when he focused. There was something painfully familiar there. Something that made my chest ache in a way I couldn't explain. I don't know what you expect from me, I said finally. I don't expect anything, Sara replied. I just thought, you deserved to know. And he deserved the truth. Adam's eyes met mine again. Are you my dad? He asked softly. The question hit harder than anything else that night. I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Because the truth was, I didn't know how to be anyone's father. I had spent years barely holding my own life together. And now, suddenly, there was this small human being looking at me like I mattered. Like I was something important. My voice failed me. Sara placed a gentle hand on Adam's shoulder. It's okay, she whispered to him. You don't have to decide anything today. But Adam didn't look at her. He kept looking at me. And in that moment, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't about what I was ready for. This was about what he needed. The next few weeks were a blur. I couldn't just walk away, not after seeing that look in his eyes. So I agreed to meet them again. And then again after that. At first, it was awkward. Painfully so. I didn't know what to say. What to do. How to act. But Adam didn't seem to care. He'd show me his drawings. Tell me random stories about school. Ask me questions that ranged from, do you like dinosaurs, to, why don't grown-ups play more? And slowly, something inside me began to shift. I started looking forward to those meetings. Started noticing the little things, like how he laughed with his whole body, or how he'd reach for my hand without thinking when we crossed the street. One day, he called me Dad by accident. We both froze. I'm sorry, he said quickly, his face turning red. But something about it didn't feel wrong. It's okay, I replied, my voice softer than I expected. Sara watched it all from a distance, never pushing, never asking for more than I could give. Until one evening, when Adam ran ahead to the playground and left us alone on a bench. You don't have to do this, she said quietly. I frowned. Do what? Stay, she replied. If it's too much. I'll understand. I looked at Adam, laughing on the swings, completely unaware of the weight of the conversation happening behind him. Then I looked back at her. You did this alone for 5 years, I said. She nodded. You didn't have to tell me. I know. I took a deep breath. But you did, I said. And now? I can't pretend I don't know him. I can't unsee him. My voice grew steadier. I don't know how to be a perfect father. I'll probably mess up a lot. Sara gave a small, emotional smile. That's kind of part of the job. I nodded. But I want to try, I said. Her eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but something softer. Something hopeful. That evening, as we walked home together, Adam slipped his hand into mine without hesitation. And this time, I held on. Because sometimes, life doesn't give you time to prepare. Sometimes, it just places something unexpected in front of you, and asks you to choose. And that night, standing between fear and love, I chose him.